Tell me, Welcome to Coach Development Live on the Best Hour of Their Day podcast. If you're a new or developing coach who wants to coach with confidence, get better on the floor, and make a real impact, you're in the right place. Every episode, you'll hear from Level 4 coaches Todd and me, Kristin Bowen, as we break down practical coaching tips, real-world strategies, and answer your biggest coaching questions live. No fluff, just the help you need to sharpen your skills and become the best coach you can be. Let's get started.
All right.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah.
Testing. Okay.
Testing. You got your earbuds in.
Yep.
Mic set. Got a hot mic.
Hot mic.
Hot mic. All right. Omar in the
morning,
house.
Omar.
What's happening, buddy?
Thursday.
We made it to Thursday. And hopefully my internet connection's a little better than we had last
Looks
Thursday.
Like you're back on your home turf. So
yeah, that's it.
You should be good to go. Oh, Allie's joining us this morning. What's up, Allie? Hey,
Brad, what's up, team?
Squad.
Okay, we got this squad in the house. Yeah. So, okay, but we got summertime's on its way. Has it made it officially in Virginia Beach or not?
On and off. It's actually been really nice here. So yeah, I'm going to say yes. I can leave my house with shorts and a short sleeve. So
all right. That's a good.
I know you've been in summertime for like 5 months so far. So
yeah, it's been really hot, but then I went to Colorado and it was beautiful. And then I came back. And
it was hot again?
No, it's beautiful here. It's been crazy that it's June and it's not insane. So I'm pretty stoked with that. But where I want to go with that was I was curious, do you make any additional considerations based on the time of year, specifically summer? It gets hot, right? I think your facilities, do you guys have any climate control or is it bay doors open and sweat fest while you're there?
Our main space is bay doors open. Our new space is climate control. I will say though, that place does get pretty humid and there's not a lot of airflow. So even though there is AC, it still gets a little hot in there.
So with that, do you take any considerations that it's summertime, it's going to be hotter when you're coaching classes specifically?
Yeah, I just remind them at the end to drink water. I always throughout the class too, I'll just remind people, not yet, it hasn't happened, but when we get in the heat of things, like no pun intended, but like the thick humidity of the summer, I'll brief at the whiteboard quite literally, like, guys, take a break in this workout. We've got a 15-minute, it is hot, like take a minute and get your breath, get some water. Like if you feel like you need it, you probably do. So it's another time. It's almost giving people permission to take a little break in the middle of the workout, not hit it at 100%. Just like take your foot off the gas pedal a little bit. And then of course at the end, just rolls right into our topic today. Super important to make sure, I see what you're doing there. Super important to make sure that we have plenty of time to do the cool down because the heat will wreck people. And so if we don't have at least, I'd say, at least 5 minutes, but ideally 10 minutes to just let everybody kind of come down from the workout, it does not set them up for success for the rest of the day. And I say rest of the day because I'm in there like almost exclusively in the mornings. So how about you?
Yeah.
Same deal? What else do you guys do?
Well, a couple things. We're climate controlled, and actually we just had insulation, new like spray foam insulation installed in our gym to be even more climate controlled this year. So that has already made a difference for us. But it is the time of year that when it's hot, same thing, reminding people to drink water, telling them to take a break if they need it. But this is also where like doing some additional scaling and really being considerate of that, especially on like longer workouts, like high volume of round workouts, like those workouts that are 5 rounds, 7 rounds, 10 rounds, something like that, or higher volume of reps. This is the time of year where it's like, hey, let's go with a little bit less weight than, you probably want to, or think that you can, or, hey, I know it says 10 rounds, but we're just going to do 8 today because it's going to have a bigger impact than you think if we let the heat get to us. So just being really aware of that and realizing that like a month ago when the weather was a little bit nicer, doing the heavier weight or doing all 10 rounds is a non-issue. But now all of a sudden, this is going to be a bigger issue than you think. And so either one, trying to get the scaling done on the front end before the workout starts, or just being very intentional to be aware during class, like, hey, I'll let you do this weight, or we can try 10 rounds, but I'm going to check in with you throughout the workout and make sure that we make the adjustments if needed, because there's a chance that you might feel it a little bit more. So,
yeah.
let's
And on the
see.
flip side of that, I mean, how often I've had people in environments like that just kind of look at me with those wide eyes and be like,
Oh yeah.
I don't know
Help.
what's wrong today.
Yeah.
This is so much harder than it usually is. I'm not quite sure what's going, so just like
And you're like,
reminding them
yeah, it's
it's
100 degrees.
hot. Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. Or even if you have the climate control, it's summertime. So if you're coaching in the evening and you've had someone that's been outside doing yard work all day, or whatever. I mean, there's so many different variables to just make sure that we're keeping in mind we're not so tunnel vision about like the workout right in front of us with our class plan and all that. But, take a step back and see what else is going on, see how these other things potentially are affecting your people.
Yeah.
And like Jens is saying, like adjust their training intensity. For sure.
Yeah. And I even like programming wise consider this, like we have our benchmarks that we try to do throughout the year. There's certain benchmarks either where I will intentionally like avoid in certain months to be like, because I'm like, there's no chance, no matter how well you train, it's going to be hard to set a benchmark here, or strategically place it here. And then again, towards the end of the year when it's cooler, where it's like, oh, we're going to definitely improve.
I can't tell you how many times I've finished something and I'm like, I'd love to do this again in like October and just see how I do.
Any sort of running workouts, right?
You can just feel how much the heat impacts. And I'm like, this would normally be a good workout for me, but man, I am crushed.
No chance.
Unfortunately, October comes and goes and I always forget about it. That's all right. Yeah. What's up, Matt? Morning.
Yeah, I'm with Brad here though. It's like you try to work out and then you just don't stop sweating the rest of the day. If you work out before you're coaching. And I remember when we opened the gym in our first space, which was so hot, like every class that I coached, I'd be replacing a shirt because it was like I did a full workout. So it'd be full sweat, shirt comes off, I'm going to coach the next class. That one would be completely drenched. That shirt goes off, I coach the next class. It was nuts.
Well, even at the working the level 1s and level 2s, like both of us obviously have worked many level 1s over the years. And that includes, we started doing it in 2013 and there were not as many gyms with AC in 2013, believe it or not. So many of our seminars in the summer, and both of us had the Dirty South, right? That's our region. So many seminars in the summer are done, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, no heat in the facility. And all the trainers would just be sure to bring typically you need a shirt for day 1 and a shirt for day 2. And you pretty much safely double that. Cause if you have any demonstration duties, you're getting off that demo box, like completely drenched. It's like, all right, got to go do the shirt change.
Devastating. There were some Miami seminars where it was as hot as you could possibly get.
I'd love to see you guys. We're going on a tangent on the hot weather, obviously, but I'd just be curious how many of you, if you put in the comments, if you prefer working out in the heat over the cold. Like, even though we're talking about, oh, it's hard and it's crushing, I would so much rather walk out the door and it just be hot and humid and work out in that than freezing cold. But I like to sweat. It warms me up quicker. I don't need as much.
I mean, you're right. Yes, it's definitely easier than the cold weather, because the cold weather, like grabbing a barbell or hanging on the pull-up bar when it hurts your hands just to hold it, it's tough. But there is
heat.
There's some of the heat days where it's like, it's so freaking hot. It's tough to do anything. You just can't push.
Yeah. 100% warm-ups easier in the summer and the heat. And then, of course, our cool downs are a little bit harder, but super important.
Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit. So world-class cool down. why is a cool down important? And you've mentioned it a couple times that you want at least 5 minutes, but ideally it's 10 minutes. Like, what are we using that for? Why do we need it?
Well, literally cool down. We're trying to get the core body temperature down a little bit from the workout, get the heart rate down a little bit. Just I'll use it also to check in with the athletes, right? Like make sure, especially as we're going into the summer days, just walk around, have little conversations with them. They're like, what'd you think? What was the hardest part? But really, I care what they're saying, but really I'm also just trying to have a little bit of an interaction to assess how they're doing, right? Especially if you see someone just sitting there and their eyes are kind of like glazed, or maybe they're a little pale. It's like, oh, we don't want to just switch over and now it's time for me to run this next class. I need the time to just walk around, make sure everybody's doing okay. Those are more of like the set kind of base important reasons. And then of course we have the community side of it as well. What do you guys typically do for that?
Well, yeah, Jens, I love it. Like cool down, get the athlete's body back to homeostasis. And we use it not only for stretching and scoring, but also a debrief to go over the workout. Yeah, it's all of those things, right? Like first and foremost, we just want to get our athletes back to a position where they're seeing straight and they're ready to drive home and their body is cooled down a little bit. And so with that, unfortunately, it is the part of class that is typically lost when we are not able to maintain our timeline, or we didn't plan well, or we didn't keep our timeline or whatever, because it's at the end and it's like, hey, as long as the workout's over and stuff's cleaned up and we get scores on the board, we can send people out the door and start the next class. So I think it's one of those things that's often missed, and it's the first thing that's cut out of a lesson plan or a timeline if you're running out of time. One, because it's the last part of the class, and two, because not everybody's convinced on how important it is, or not everybody always wants to do it, but it is critical and it's super important. So I'd be curious to know, I love this, Vicente, best community conversations usually happen during the cool down. I agree with that.
I totally agree with that. People have just suffered together for an hour and like barriers are broken, and like the ice, if you will, has been broken for the past 50 minutes. People are so much more open to talking to each other at the end of class than at the beginning.
Yeah.
Especially if they don't know each other that well, or there's a couple people that, are kind of on the outskirts of, like, maybe there's a group that is regulars or whatever. So yeah, totally agree with that.
So I'd be curious to know, one, do you have like a go-to cool down?
I'm laughing because I certainly fall into the trap where it's like, I don't have as much time as I wanted. And so for starters, when I do my lesson plan, I always allot 10 minutes. And if I get 10 minutes, it's like, I'm not quite sure what happened. It's always less than 10 minutes. But if I allot 10 minutes, then I'm almost guaranteed I at least have like 5 to 7. And so with that, first thing I do is, I know you and I have talked about a strategy here, and so I'm going to kind of put a pin in my brain. I think you know what I'm going to talk about here. But first thing I typically do is have everybody put all their equipment away. That's usually where I'll walk around and I'll just make those assessments and kind of see how everybody's doing. And then it gives them an opportunity. It's like a productive cool down, right? And that's my go-to if I literally run out of time. Is I'll be like, all right, productive
cool down is putting the gear away, is what you're saying? Okay.
It's like, take more trips, and I'll tell them, take more trips than you need to, walk back and forth, get your heart rate down, give a high five to somebody. And then I make it a point to let them know, like, this is what we're doing right now. And then I'll say, if you have time to stick around, let's do a lap around the building or whatever. Cause typically I don't coach 2 classes in a row. I'm usually a one and done. And so if I have to, then I will say, hey guys, if you have time to stick around, we're going to do a little bit of stretching. But I at least have that few minutes to get everybody to get their weights away. I'm walking around, I'm making assessments, I'm chatting with people. Now that's kind of like worst case, right? Normally it's like, get your weights put away. All right. Walking around, whatever. Okay. Everybody come to the middle of the gym. We're going to do a little stretching. I still have you for 4 more minutes or whatever it is. So they make sure that, or I make sure they know the group management's not done. The class isn't done. Like pull them back. And then I'll just do circle, like some stretches, depending on what the workout was and what muscles, have been worked. I'll change the stretches up a little bit. But what, well, I don't know if you want to go to that, because we've talked about like the strategy of weights away first or second.
Yeah. So I'll tell you my go-to, and it's the same as Omar and even Matt. So Omar mentions 100-meter walk. Matt makes mention of a walk. Distant changes based on how much time we have.
I love the group walk. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just an easy way. Number one, it starts the conversations like Vicente made mention of, like people can start chatting because they're walking together. They can debrief the workout. I can stand by the door as I have people do the 200. It's usually for me, I want a 200-meter walk. I can give everybody their fist bump on the way out the door so I can check in. I can look in their eyes, see how they're looking, they're feeling. It's also a 200-meter walk takes, 2 or 3 minutes. So even if I've kind of punted the timeline, I usually have time for that to happen. They come back in. Now, guys, start putting your gear away. Let's get your scores on the board, and I can get them out of there. And so there's a lot of value, in my opinion, on doing that. And that is probably my go-to. Now,
I like to walk with them. Do you ever walk with them?
Yeah, usually but I usually wait for the last person, right? I want to fist bump everybody, and then the last person goes, and then I'll walk with them. And then typically there's a turnaround for our 200-meter.
Mm-hmm.
The first person that's on their way back, I'll stop and jump in with the first person, because I also want to be the first person back in the door so I can fist bump everybody again as they're coming back in. And then
strategy to everything.
Nothing is by chance.
Nothing's accidental.
Yeah, nothing is by chance.
Well, really quick, like this is just yet another way that as a coach, you can connect with every single athlete in the class, no matter like what their level, where they're at, whatever. It's just like all these little tiny strategies we talk about that are thought out and not accidental. It's like just doing it that way, you've been able to chat with kind of everybody during even the cool down, not even mattering if they were out the door first or last. So it's cool to think about stuff like that.
Yeah. So I'm looking at some of this stuff. So we get a lot of comments here. Vicente, we struggle with a cool down because of the programming, including strength and Metcon. Ali makes the same thing. Hey, that's the first thing that gets cut out when we have too much stuff or a lot of stuff in our class. I won't even say too much, just a lot. Is there anything else that you can steal from, or any strategies to ensure that happens? So let's start there, and then we can address some of the other questions here. So how do we?
It's such a common question, right? And such a common, not only common question, but common thing that we see like across the board. I mean, this is definitely.
So do you have any strategies top of mind of like, all right, strength and Metcon, we're just 2 pieces to our program. We've got a lot going on. More than likely, your time is going to be filled up. How do I ensure I even allow or allot 5 minutes for a cool down? Like, how do I make sure that actually happens, as opposed to, hey, I'm just going to plan on us not having one, and the cool down is going to be putting away the weights.
Right. Yeah. I don't plan that. That just
I know. I get that.
How did this whole hour disappear already?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it happens, right? But that's why you have a plan. So I'm not going over on time. But yeah. And at the end of the day, I mean, like bottom line is when I'm doing my lesson plan, absolutely, even though you're looking at the class, you're like, gosh, there's so much to fit in here. I'm not going to not put at least that 5 minutes in for the cool down. Places to steal from it. You could do the strategy where you just steal a minute here and there throughout the class, and that adds up to the time that you need. Oh yeah. Omar mentions it's there, right? Like even the bathroom break, if depending on what the workout is, if there's some loading in there, instead of having a specific time to load and a specific time for the bathroom break, those things are combined, right? Like, all right, you guys, you have 5 minutes. I want you to do, at least 2 more sets to whatever. And then now is your time. If you need to take a break, if you need to get a whiteboard, if you need to get your little chips to count everything, or however you guys do it in your gym, just making sure that's communicated to the athletes that this is the combo. And we are going to start the workout like point to the clock at that time. So certainly combining there, making sure my whiteboard brief starts on time and is short. Like today's not the day to chat and do a whole long question of the day at the whiteboard brief. Maybe we do that during the general warm-up. And speaking of general warm-up, maybe depending again on the workout and how long the two pieces are, that general warm-up might disappear. We might jump right into the specific warm-up. So there's a couple minutes right there. What other strategies am I missing?
Yeah, I think being very intentional. So the whiteboard brief, less is always more. Like we talk about it being, 3 to 5 minutes. I think like really 3 minutes should be the max in my opinion, because we've talked about this on here before. I'm going to have to repeat the workout again anyways. So what's the point of like really going over it? So I do that. The other thing, general warm up, I want that to be concise. And so put a time, like really just put a time cap pretty much on everything. Hey, the warm up's going to be an AMRAP rather than 3 rounds of X, Y, and Z. And in fact, we get a lot of, like you guys are making a lot of comments about questions of the day. Like if I go, hey, our general warm up guys, we're going to go 6-minute AMRAP of X, Y, and Z. You guys start doing that. It's a little bit more free form. That's where I throw my question of the day in. So I start some of the dialogue, but I'm not doing it at the whiteboard where it takes time and nothing else is happening other than the question of the day. When it comes to, if it's a strength and Metcon, when it comes to the strength portion, putting a time limit on that. Hey guys, we're going to spend 10 minutes working up to a heavy X, or we're going to spend every 2 minutes for 5 rounds, we're going to do X. It's like if we are very deliberate on what that time frame is, and then to your point, when there's transitions, how can you blend the transition? So if we do a strength and then a Metcon, and the strength is building up and load and getting to a heavy weight, and then we're going to have to deload to prepare for the workout and we want to do a teaser round or a warm-up round or a test round and a bathroom break. Well, I'm going to put a 10-minute cap on the strength. And then as soon as that 10 minutes is up, I'm going to go, all right, guys, we've got 5 minutes. You're going to lower your weight on your barbell, put your extra plates away. I need 2 rounds of this little test round and go to the bathroom and grab your whiteboard if you need it. We're starting in 5. Here we go. And so now instead of taking time and being like, all right, everybody find the working weight and wait for everybody to be done. Everybody now do 2 rounds of this. Wait for everybody to be done. Now, if you need to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom. And now all of a sudden that amount of time that I had hoped for to be 5 minutes in my lesson plan, as you know, and I know, it's probably going to be 8 or 9 minutes. And now I've just lost my cool down. So being very intentional and pairing things up, I think is going to help a little bit there.
Yeah, what's interesting about that is on the flip side, we'll talk to coaches a lot about having everything like coach led and the group management part and keeping the class together. So I just want to point that out that there's definitely a time to do what you're saying and combine it and just give them that whole, because you've already done a specific warm-up likely where you have kept everyone moving together. And now's the time to just do that like 5 minutes, minimize the transitions. And again, it depends on what the workout is. Like you might not have to do that with some workouts.
Yeah, for sure. Omar makes a good point here. Like the more you can get accomplished and the less transition times, the more likely you're going to have to get that cool down done. So setting up your stations ahead of time is going to help make sure you're ready to rock and roll there. Let's see. Jens makes mention we plan 5+ minutes at the end, depending on the structure of the workout. A lot of equipment to clean up and removement requires a little bit more. Plan it with the lesson plans. Yep. One of the things that Brad asked earlier is, do you program your cool downs or do you let coaches decide? So for you guys at your gym, are you given what the cool down should be, or is that up to you?
No, it's up to the coaches. We're not giving the cool down. We're given the warm up, but even the warm up, it's like, here's the warm up, but it's not a big deal at all if the coach makes adjustments depending on what they want to do. But the cool down isn't given at all. That's up to the coach. How about you? I don't think there's a wrong or a right, by the way.
No,
That's
I don't
what we
think there
do.
is one
Yeah.
one either. No, I mean, we loosely use CAP for the most part, and so the coaches have the ability to look into the notes and see what they have there. But more often than not, it's kind of on the coach to take it and determine what's best based on the time that they have. Now, that being said, I have found some strategies to make it a more productive cool down. And, I think a lot of times we as coaches and even gyms in general struggle to find and make time for the cool down. And so people are used to the workout finishing, they put away their gear and then they leave. And
Mm-hmm.
so if we are being intentional and say you're part of the knowledge or you're in coach development and now you're following these lessons and you now see the importance of the cool down and, oh, by the way, you're working on your lesson plans and you've now allotted your time and your time management's gotten a lot better and you're like, cool, I've allotted 10 minutes. I'm getting my 10 minutes for the cool down. But because we've created the culture to where when the workout's over, people put their weights away and then they walk out the door, it sometimes can be hard to get people to stick around for that cool down and to even get an effective cool down. So I'm curious to know, like, what are some of the things that coaches can do to ensure when they've allotted the time and actually achieve their goal of having the time, what can they do to make sure that people still stick around, or some pointers that people can take away?
Well, I definitely love the not putting the equipment away, because one thing that most gyms do a really good job at is creating the culture where people just don't leave with all their stuff like on the
Right.
floor, right? And so if you tell them to hold up putting their equipment away and you immediately start the cool down, then of course you still have control of the group, right? For your example, all their stuff's all over the floor still. Okay, guys, we're going to go for a 100-meter walk or a 200-meter walk. And then if you make the turn and you're there as they're starting to walk, then you can tell them exactly where to go. Okay, everybody go grab a band and we're going to meet by the rig or whatever. Another strategy could be to quite literally write your cool down on the whiteboard as if it's part C of the class. It's like, hey, here's what we're going to do for the workout, this workout of the day, whatever. After the workout's over, we're going to take about 5 minutes and we're going to hit a couch stretch and then we're going to do this and then we're going to do this. So you could even just write cool down or something, just so people at the very beginning have that expectation that is part of the class and they know that it's going to happen afterwards and they're kind of like ready and waiting for it. Let's see, what's Brad say here? I do think if you have something written down or planned, the cool down, it might encourage folks to take part in it compared to waiting for the coach to guide all of it. Yeah, I agree, because it no longer becomes this like arbitrary kind of optional thing, but it's on paper and therefore it's a part of the lesson plan, right? It's part of the programming.
And it's funny how type A most people that do CrossFit are, that they're like, oh, well, if this is part of class, I have to finish everything that I'm expected to do.
Yep.
And so evidently I'm going to have to do this cool down in these stretches. So I think that's a good way to do it. Yeah, I think, I've found a ton of success in not having people put stuff away and immediately getting them into the stretching or the cool down or whatever that is. This is also the one part of class where I think it's appropriate for us as coaches to do it with our athletes. I have found that when I don't let people put stuff away and I ask them to start stretching or cooling down and I jump in and start doing it with them, they will start mirroring me and mimicking me and they will follow along, and I get way better participation and adherence when that is the case. So those are a couple of things that I will do that I have found success with to help people do that. Now, I love the fact that you pulled this up, and even the fact that let's see, that Jens put this, because this brings me to the next point that I wanted to make, which was around what do cool downs need to be. And we've talked about a cool down walk, and you can replace the walk with a bike, like a slow bike ride or a row, to kind of flush the system and all of that. Or you can do some stretching, but there's some other ways to do that. And he says active recovery. Oftentimes we will have cash outs. Do you guys ever do anything like that?
Oh yeah. Cash outs, little accessory work at the end. Like,
So
everybody loves that stuff. Beach
tell me
season.
about that. what does that look like? What is a cash out? What is accessory work? When is it appropriate? How do you guys use it? What is that?
Yeah, I mean, we had like let's see, I'm trying to remember what the actual workout was. It's not important. It was like bench press, and I think it was a bench press and then followed by some weighted pull-ups, or like max strict, a couple sets of either like strict pull-ups, or if you could do a certain amount of strict, then you could add some weight on, whatever. So that was kind of the part A and the part B. And then the part C was just some not for time, 3 rounds, not for time accessory work. I cannot remember what it was. It was like bent over, like, what are these things? Like the flies
Dumbbell
or whatever.
flies.
Yeah. And then
What are these? What's this? What are these things?
What's this thing? Deck. Yeah, just some miscellaneous things like that. And I utilized that as the cool down. We didn't have a dedicated, we're going to get in a circle and we're going to stretch, because heart rate wasn't too high. It was strength day. But last 10 minutes of class, they could do it on their own. There wasn't a 3, 2, 1, go. And it just was a great opportunity they chit-chatted with each other. We all kind of, were joking around, and that took us all the way to the end of class. And I didn't feel the need to do anything beyond that, because, heart rate's not high. We're just, lighter weights, higher reps. So we'll do stuff like that. Not all of the time, but I'd say at least once or twice a week, there's some sort of little accessory kind of isolation movements that, little barbell bicep curls, banded tricep extensions. We did that yesterday. Just little things like that. People like that stuff. Yeah, beach season.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, I agree. And I think, like, I love what Brad puts here is like a cash out, active recovery, like physical therapy type exercises that are slow, controlled, and meant to help people's joints. And we'll do a lot of this. And this happens for us often on like heavy days. So yesterday we had a heavy day. It was back squats, and our cash out was some of like the knees over toes stuff. So I think it was 3 rounds. It's not for time. It's sled pulls forward and backwards. It's some of the seated good mornings, and it's some of those ATG split squats. And so it's like you're adding some accessory and some additional work that's going to support and supplement the lift that you just did, fill in some of the gaps there. To your point, it's a great way to bring the heart rate down and get people back to homeostasis. It's going to continue to strengthen joints, move people through a full range of motion, and do just some additional stuff there. And so that's one of those things that I think is a valuable add. And this is also where so often we get the question on like, do you guys just do heavy days? Like it shows on CrossFit.com where it's just back squats. And I'm like, yes, we do. But that doesn't mean that it's like we grab a barbell, we do 5 sets of back squats, and that's all we've done. Clearly, there's the general warm up. There's the specific warm up. There's the loading phase. There's the 5 or 7 or how many ever sets of the lifting. And then typically we do some accessory stuff that's going to be accessory to the lift that they did. And so you finish the day, you might not feel beat up like you just did, Fran, but you definitely feel like you did plenty amount of work to get a good session in that day. And I think that's appropriate. And to your point, not only do we do that on heavy days, but there's value that we find in other days where we're going to have time in our lesson plan to do some work on the GHD. Days where we do hip extensions, back extensions. We had some GHD sit-ups, some core work, some ab work, whether it's hollow holds or sit-ups or strict work. And so there's just so much stuff that we can do and add as far as accessory goes that counts as a cool down, that just allows us to continue to get a little extra work in. And so I think those are all important things to be aware of and realize that counts as your cool down as well.
For sure. Even thinking of weakness work, right? Like this is where you could work some handstand progressions or holds or technique, or, hey, we're going to spend the last 10 minutes just playing around on the low rings and work some like muscle up drills. Or balance is a great thing too. I mean, that's something that we don't work on as much as we should, but to Brad's point in those like physical therapy type exercises, incorporating some balance work. And again, if you have a plan and you tell people, you're not just like, all right, for the next 10 minutes. I want you guys working on your balance. Like, no, you keep everyone together and yeah, right. It's like, here's the first exercise. And those exercises are fun because they're super beneficial and they're usually pretty fun because everyone's so bad at them. And so it just creates like this, people are laughing and then you find like the one random person that's really, really good at it. And then you can,
you can talk them up and give them praise.
Yeah, it's usually someone that you would never expect, the like 72-year-old man is like still holding. It's like, whoa, Tim,
still
what are you
holding,
doing? That's
still
awesome.
holding.
Yeah, so cool downs, I think they just get like a bad rap for being this like, extra thing we just have to try to fit in. But if we really think beyond, okay, we're just going to sit in a circle and stretch for 2 minutes. There's so many other ways to incorporate it, especially if you plan ahead of time. Yeah, Josh said, if I pop down on the floor, pigeon stretch, way more likely for people to join in the cool down. I totally agree. Sometimes I'll yell for people like, all right, guys, we're going to do a little stretching. People are still kind of wandering around. And all I will do is just like sit down and start doing it. Somebody will see me and start. And then within the next like minute or so, you've got 7 or 8 people with you. So that's such a good strategy, Josh. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it as you start doing that. Because from my experience, where I'm like, all right, guys, cool down is going to be 2 minutes of pigeon stretch on each leg, the couch stretch for a minute, and then down dog. All right, go. Not happening. If I'm walking around doing whatever, it's like, yeah, we get maybe 2 people. Everybody else is like, all right, catch you tomorrow or next time I'm going to be here. But when I sit down and make them do it with me, then all of a sudden it happens and it's a little bit better. So, yeah, I think that stuff's important. I think the big takeaway here is it is critical, like that there is a cool down. It doesn't have to be, stretching or foam rolling or lacrosse balls or bands. It can be accessory work, but there should be something after the actual like workout portion of our session and of our class. Should bring our athletes back to homeostasis, and there should be something that allows for a close of class and provides that close for everybody to know that this is over and now it's time to move on. I know Kristin was talking about making sure that everybody gives fist bumps, and that's just the culture he's created. It's like, hey, everybody knows class is over when we tell them to go and give 10 fist bumps or whatever that is. And so that stuff is all important stuff. Let's see, what do we got here? I find it tough when you're trying to maybe catch up with someone or connect before they leave, and I'm not leading or doing it. Yeah, Brad, I'm with you there. It's like, that's it. I think that's such a good example, is that you've got the one-off. Like, you guys have probably all had it where somebody new walks into your gym and has some questions. And so you give your athletes the cool down. All right, guys, go ahead and do this stretch or whatever. And then you go to talk to that person. And then as you look up, everybody's walking out the door. So once again, it's important that you do it. The other thing that could happen there is you could potentially grab one of your members and let them be the leader. All right, guys, Kristin's going to take you guys through some stretches. So on her, go ahead and do what she's doing. And that might allow people to stick around, and that might create some of the same follow through if you have to step away and do something else. So another thing.
Yeah, that's good. That's no different than we talk about when you have to demonstrate something that maybe you have a limitation with, and getting one of your athletes to be your demo. I mean, think about it no differently than that. I like that. Because at the end of the day, like the point is, you're not just leaving them all, you're giving them someone to look to change positions or to lead the stretching. And they're not, because you're right, if you don't do that, they're all just going to be like, that was probably 30 seconds. I think we're done.
Yeah, I'm good. I've done enough. That's a lot of stretching for today. And it's like, okay, is it? Yeah, for sure. All right.
Do you think that regularly including cool downs helps create more of a tight-knit community? Like, we talked about the better conversations and things like that. Do you think if you do them regularly so that you're to the point where your athletes have come to expect it, like if you ended the workout and then you're just like, all right, see ya, and they were like, well, what, we're not going to hang out for a few minutes? Like, do you think you can make it to the point where people actually are looking forward to that last 5 minutes where it's like time for them to just hang out, and if it's not there, they would miss it? I don't think
Yeah.
our classes are at that point. Like, I don't think people miss it when it's not there, but I want them to miss it if it's not there. Does that make sense how I'm asking that?
Yeah, exactly. It's like I mean, obviously people come and join the gym for different reasons, and some people are doing it strictly for community, and those are the ones that probably miss it if there's not those opportunities. And so I think just in general, the more opportunities we create within a class for connection, the better the better it's going to be. It's like we want places where people can chat with each other, connect with each other, foster relationships. We want some opportunities to do so. And it's usually like before class, hopefully it's maybe during the general warm up, and then again at the end of class. And so if you're a gym that runs one class back to back, right? If they start at the top of the hour every hour, and you don't ever have a cool down, well, then it's like class is over. You're kicking that class out and those people out and bringing your new ones in to start the next class. And there's going to be some people that slip through the cracks that don't get as integrated into the community as they probably maybe should, or you want them to, or they want to, because you know as well as I do that, you know, there's a number of people that aren't as outgoing and a little bit more introverted, and it's hard for them to go out of their way to make connections and have conversations. And so it's very easy for them to just slip out the door and not say anything, and then they go. And if there's never a cool down, you and the other members at your gym might not have the opportunity to get to know that person. And I'm sure you've met people that like have been around, and for whatever reason you haven't had the opportunity to talk to them, and then once you figure out how to make that opportunity happen, you're like, holy crap, that person's awesome. Either their stories are amazing, or we have so much in common, and you never would have known that. So I think to your point, like forcing a cool down and ensuring it happens and trying to create some community during that time is just going to allow for so much more of that connection and that culture. And then if it becomes part of what you guys do and the culture in your gym, then that's what happens. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah. I know for myself as an athlete, if I'm taking the class, I just love it when there's an extra little bit of time at the end, because we end it and I want to hang around and chat with people for a few minutes and just kind of, you know, do all those things. But if I look at the clock and the class time is over, like, I have places to be, I have things to do. So it's so great. If I look at the clock, I'm like, oh, we still have 5 more minutes before class is over. This is great. And I can quite literally like chill for a second, right? I can take a minute and just talk with people and catch up with people. And it's just such a better way for me to end that session. Again, like not from a coaching perspective, but from actually taking the class. And so while I totally, absolutely feel the pressure of trying to fit that thing into a jammed packed class, I also just try to remember it from a coaching or from an athlete perspective, where it's like, all right, if we do 5 less reps in the power clean progression, will I still be able to get them warmed up well and be able to see and correct and do all the things I want to do? And then will that allow for a little more breathing room on the end that they're going to appreciate and that we just need to have? So it takes a little bit of planning and of course, you know, continually practicing and seeing like, all right, where can I shave time off? But it's just such an important part of class that I think it's good discussion here.
Yeah. I think, and Brad makes a point here. As long as the workout isn't ending at the 60-minute mark, that's a good thing. Yep. Completely agree on that. Let's see. Thoughts on using Tabata for cooldowns? Good idea or bad idea? What do you think?
So Tabata, we're talking about just a time strategy where we're going 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, and just repeating that. So it's just kind of like a work rest ratio. I mean, I don't see why not. you don't want it to be another workout, right? Like the
So
intensity
no,
should
yeah, every day should end with bottom to bottom to bottom
bottom to
squats.
bottom Tabata. We're going to do Tabata. Do you remember Tabata this? And
Oh
then there was
yes.
Tabata that,
Oh yeah.
and
All of
the
those
specific workout movements.
are some of the gnarliest workouts of all time. Doing
For
like
sure. And
Tabata
those were the
workouts with
workout of the day. Like that was the workout of the day. We're doing Tabata, and everyone would be like, 4 minutes. That's all we're doing. But
dude, devastating.
well, wouldn't one of
Devastating.
them be the 4 minutes, but you rotate between, so it ends up being 20 minutes?
Well, yeah, it's because it's
That's
Tabata
the
officially
Tabata,
is 8 rounds of 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off
which is
per
4 minutes.
exercise.
Yeah,
4
per
minutes. And
exercise.
so if there's usually it was a version of like pull-ups, push-ups, squats, sit-ups, and one of them has rowing in. I forget whether it's Tabata this or Tabata that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I think where Omar was going with this is that we're not doing that as the cool down.
He
Like
said
you can,
using a Tabata for cool down, not
yes,
using Tabata this for cool down.
yes.
Yeah.
And so to that, yeah. And Marlena says it here, Tabata stretching is a good option where we can go 20 seconds of deliberate, like intentional stretching. We do a lot of that, not a lot, but we do it on occasion where it's like Tabata or reverse, or would it be inverse Tabata of like hollow holds or
Upside
like,
down Tabata.
I don't think I've ever called it that, but potentially
You call
that's
it
it.
whatever you
That's it.
want, but
Yeah,
you're basically
call it
going
whatever you want to.
10 seconds on, 20 seconds off.
Yep,
So
you
you're
can do
reversing
that.
the work rest ratio. Yeah.
Yep, you could do that with like handstands or
Yeah.
hollow body holds or hollow rocks or
I love the idea
planks.
of it doing it with like a core cash out, right? Like you
Yeah.
said, hey, hold for this long and then rest for this long. I think it's a great way to add a little structure. People love the time. Like people love to just look at the clock and be like, all right, I can hold this for 5 more seconds. I would rather do that than just, you know, reps or whatever. Hollow body cash out is what you did today. Yeah. We did yesterday. We did Russian twists with a plate paired with a plank hold. And that was our cool down. So
That's awesome.
you know, and it was great because the workout itself was I didn't coach it, I did it, and it crushed me a little more than I expected it to. And so everyone picks up to do their first to start the cool down, and I sat out on the first round, and then it was fine. Like that's I'm like, I'm gonna just need another second, and then I joined right in, and then I just stayed into another round after everyone was done. But the whole idea is just it's we're using it as that cool down time, and it's just low stress and gives people a little structure to do the core cash out. People do not for that long. That's why I'm saying it's good to do like 10 seconds on, 20 seconds off.
But people don't like it. Even for that long, people don't like it, but it's good for them. I think he makes a good point. And this kind of takes us this goes beyond the cool down concept, but like static holds are freaking devastating. They're so good. There was a .com workout that I used to program pretty frequently, and I can't remember exactly everything it had in it, but there was like every 30 seconds you rotate for 20 minutes, and there's like 30-second bottom of the squat hold, 30-second plank, 30-second chin over the bar hold, and maybe a 30-second handstand hold, something like that. And you just
That's
rotate
totally like
three.
a Greg Glassman workout.
Yeah. And it's crazy how hard that is. And you look at something like that and you look at it on paper and you're like, really? 30 seconds? That's all I'm doing and I'm not moving. And then you start doing it and you're like, how long are we doing this for? This is not fun. This is very, very hard. There we go. Juan, let's get some breathing Tabata in. Hey, I think there's some good things there in that concept. You can do a little Wim Hof breathing, Tabata style. Holds, breathe in and out for 20 seconds, hold for 10 seconds. What else? The gym is the social time for many people. 5-minute cool down is the best opportunity to interact and develop strong and healthy relationships
100%.
with and in your classes. Yep, 100%.
Yeah, I love that.
I think one of the things where I was going previously when we were talking about that just a minute or two ago is like we have the 15-minute buffer between class times. And I love that because it allows the people that finish class to chat and connect with each other. And then the people that are coming after class are coming to the next class can still connect. And that was the other thing I was remembering is the layout of our very first location for our gym was we had these big bay doors, and then we had benches right out the bay doors, and like outside on the benches, you could pretty much see in and watch what was happening in class. And we had this routine, and it probably happened for 6-8 months, maybe even a year, where on Fridays you would have people that would come to the early class, like the 4:15 class, and we had 2 additional classes later, and they would do the workout, and then they would sit on those benches and just hang out and have some beverages and like halfway heckle the members that were going the rest of the day. But like people would come to the 4:15 class and they would hang out until the end of the 6:30 class, just hanging out, and like more people as classes would end would stick around and hang out. And I absolutely love that was going on. And that's that community that you're talking about, and that's type of things that develop. And it was one of those to where like people love doing that on Fridays. And if we weren't open on a Friday because it was a holiday, everybody was like disappointed that they didn't get a chance to do the little hangout, the Friday night, happy hour or whatever it was. So that type of stuff. And whenever we can make that happen, and to Juan's point, it's like, it's social time for our athletes. We want to make sure that we're facilitating that. Yes, we want people to get fit. Yes, we've got an agenda. Yes, we've got stuff that we've got to accomplish. But at the end of the day, we want to facilitate some sort of community and some sort of connection, because we know that regardless, as long as people are showing up, they're going to be getting fitter. So don't take the workout so seriously that we miss the opportunity for the other good stuff, which is the connection and the social time. So good stuff. I'd love to hear anybody have any additional questions. We typically like to spend the last 10 minutes answering questions, whether it's about the topic. So cool down. You guys have been asking great questions throughout. Yeah, here we go.
That's a good question.
Did you do any birthday burpees? And
I did not.
One of our fearless leaders, I believe, his birthday is today. I don't know that I would
call
him
Ackerman.
I don't know if I'd call him a leader of many people, and I don't know if I'd call him fearless either, but I guess I did. So it is his birthday today.
Yeah, I'm not the person that does a burpee for every year old I am. I'm just usually take a rest day on my birthday, an active recovery day. That's what I did. So no birthday burpees. But if y'all want to do birthday burpees for Jason Ackerman, I don't know how old he is. 30 birthday burpees for Jason Ackerman.
Yeah, right. What do we got?
I love that.
No shower happy hour. That is awesome.
The time after the last class on Friday, says Lita, the no shower happy hour.
That is fantastic. Good. Absolutely love that thing.
And I bet people look forward to that. Like, it's just another thing on Friday to look forward to, is that afternoon class that everybody gets together for. And like, that's the social for the Friday, right?
Ooh, here's a good one by Brad. Are you guys doing the community cup at your gym? K-Bo. I bet you don't even know if you are.
What is the community cup? What is this that you know? I'm just kidding. We're not doing it officially. We're not doing like a whole big like Friday Night Lights type of open thing. But the workouts will likely be done. How about you, Todd?
Yeah, I think we're going to program. I was kind of waiting to see what the workouts would be, and I think we'll end up programming them next week.
Do you think they'll have them programmed for CAP? Does CAP usually do that?
Yeah, they'll definitely be doing that.
Put them in there. Yeah, that makes it easy to fit into the programming.
Yep. And so I think they look like some fun ones, which is cool. We've got a handful of people that have reached out that are going to be in town on vacation and want to drop in to do that. So we'll make that happen. They look like fun workouts, so should be good doing that. Let's see. Yeah, exactly. Some of these fun, gnarly ones. Yeah, there's the 20-minute AMRAP one, like 15 step overs. There's 5 handstand push-ups. I forget what it is that the 10 movement is, but that one is going to be one where it's like, it's going to feel like you're doing Cindy or like you're doing Nate. There's going to be a lot of rounds of that thing.
Yeah, and Matt, I'm with you. Matt says we're doing the workouts because of CAP. We don't follow CAP, but more than likely he'll throw them in there as part of the programming. But he says, I don't think anyone is actually submitting scores and we're not judging.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kristin, you know what we got coming up in October, right?
Yeah, we have affiliate con in
And
October in Texas.
I've heard some rumors. I don't think we can officially state it yet. In fact, Birthday Boy is the one that always lets the cat out of the bag, so we can't be the one. But
let's make some announcements.
Should we start making announcements? Should we let the cat out of the bag on some of the people? I've heard some rumors on some of the people that are going to be there.
Yeah,
that is
Matthew McConaughey, ladies, is emceeing. That's not true.
Yeah, maybe it is. Who knows? We're not sure yet. It's in Texas. That's where he's at.
Oh, I would die. That would be so fun.
Gordon, I hope that you're one of those folks that are going to be there. Come on. You going to be there, Gordon?
Let's go, Gordon.
I did hear that potentially we've got HQ on board, and so they're going to be sending some of their best and brightest to be a part of that. That'll be pretty darn cool. And then, yeah, exactly. All right. Here we go. I can't wait. Matthew McConaughey. I've been wanting to meet him in person since Dazed and Confused. Let's go.
Yeah, I think he's hiring me for a private 101. It's going to be amazing. No, it's going to be a super good time. That's fantastic. Brad's going to be there. It's open to any CrossFitter, right? Like, you don't have to be part of Best Hour of their day. You don't have to be an affiliate owner. It's for coach. It's just going to be a huge, like, Woodstock of CrossFit
fitness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess not the Woodstock of fitness. That's kind of the CrossFit Games, or at least originally that was that. But
yes,
there's another thing. There's another thing that's going on with you and I, which is going to be pretty cool. You want to share that, or should we hold that one close to
up to you. I'll pass that back over to you. I already announced Matthew McConaughey. So.
Oh, you let him out of the bag? Well, we are going to have a knowledge VIP experience. So for coaches out there, part of the knowledge, I think we might even open it up to coaches in affiliate university, coach development. But prior to the official affiliate con, we're going to have an exclusive experience. And so we'd love to have you guys out for that. So more details to come, but there's going to be so many cool things happening and going down. So
I'm super pumped to see everybody in person. It'll be really
if
fun.
You can make it happen, be there. I'm pretty sure that McConaughey is going to be there working on his coaching as well. So yeah,
let's just all start tagging him and let's make it happen.
Yes. Yep. Anybody that shows up gets an official painting. That's it.
That's a big
ask, and that's not happening. I could get napkins though. We could come up with something there.
But we will continue to let everybody know once we have some more plans solidified, what to expect from the weekend. But we definitely know we're going to be doing something fun for the Knowledge Pro, and it'll be a good time.
Yeah. So if you guys like this stuff, if you want more coaching information, if you're an affiliate owner, affiliate university, still offering AU for free. So make sure you guys go to besthouroftheirday.com for that. If you're a coach, not an owner, you want more coaching development and content, the Knowledge Pro and the Knowledge is where you want to be for that. Same deal. Go to besthouroftheirday.com. You guys can get information on the Knowledge and get signed up for that. Look at that. Marlene is coming. Another in person. You are absolutely right. This is going to be in person on the coattails of another amazing event. So we can't wait to have you guys there for that. So hope to see you guys in the Knowledge. We're in coach development soon. And otherwise, we'll plan on seeing you guys next Thursday. Appreciate it as always.
All right. Have a great weekend.
Yeah. Have a great weekend. And we will see you guys next week.
Crush those cool downs.
Let's go. Thank you for checking out this episode of the Best Hour of Their Day podcast. Now, if you're a coach who wants to coach more effectively, impact your members, and advance your career, then the Knowledge Pro is the next step. Inside, you'll get hundreds of coaching videos, weekly calls with level 4 coaches, and direct feedback on your coaching. From homework reviews to full class breakdowns, we do it all. This is the best way to grow as a coach and take your skills to the next level. Now, you can join the Knowledge Pro at besthouroftheirday.com/the knowledge. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen. Now keep coaching, keep improving, and we'll see you next time.